Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be doing a site setups video on Casino. I know I haven't uploaded in a while. I've been taking a nice break from Siege to restore my mental health back to absolutely depressed. But without further ado, let's get on with this video. To start off with the basement site, we're going to want to go straight out of the site, up the yellow stairs, through lobby, through this doorway. There's one of the hatches, but we're not too worried about this hatch here. I'm going to go through past this jukebox again. I don't know the callouts. This map's been out all of a day. I've played like 7 ranked games and 2 of them have been on this, and that's when I realized I really need a site setup video for this map. So there is some form of uniformity when people play it, at least. Hell, I didn't even know until I came up these stairs that there was a staircase here. That's how little time I've spent on the map, but hopefully these site setups will get you active enough in the map and get you somewhere to a more uniformed setup. But either way, I'm going to open up feet holes on this wall. I want to make anyone dropping this hatch feel very uncomfortable, and again, that's why we're not wasting our reinforcement on it. The other hatch that we reinforced was in this weapon cache. Wonderful times. Now, I'm not going to be extending out into the room on the other side of CCTV. I'm just going to reinforce off these walls. You could probably get them with a Cade Claw. If you are going to be doing this site first and they bad mirror and you do have Cade, you could very easily get a Claw in this corner, get both of these walls, mute jam, get the drone hole, and then throw a mute jammer down, catch some of the wall. For this corner, I would reinforce one of these walls, and if you are going to do a mirror setup, I would put it on the other side. And then I would have a vault rotation on this wall. I definitely still want to have that maneuverability between the sites, but I want to be able to play in this corner, play out to this doorway if I need to. And if they open this wall, I still want the ability to be able to play this doorway and this doorway if I need to, and still play this tight angle over here to this smaller room. Again, I don't know the callouts, but you're going to have to bear with me. This is quite a new map. I'm sure there'll be call out videos on it soon and all of that. It will take some time. But over here, I reinforce one of these walls, and then I will open up head holes on the other. Now, there is a complicated long angle that can be used all the way through to that wall, but we'll get to that in just a second. There is another outside wall over here, and this is why I would come down and play this site first. You want to have Bandit potentially tricking this wall, Cade's Claw to be getting 2 walls over here, and maybe grab these walls as well, just to give you a bit more security. If they're not bothering with this wall, then you can have Bandit come over and trick. Now, it is possible to open up this wall and have a line of sight all the way into that room with the boxes with the outside wall or whatever. I'm just going to make this rotatable for now, just for the sake of speed and efficiency. But you can, if you get all the way up here, have a line of sight to anyone coming down those stairs. And there's a little lip, as you can see, when you're on this locker. If I just clean up this a bit more, you can see all the way out to there. You could potentially reinforce that wall. You could save a reinforcement and reinforce off this wall if things start to get hairy and you have someone playing in this area. Again, you can also come over to here onto this box and get a naughty little angle over to that wall as well. Now, personally, I would stick a player in this area. I would also have, just for the sake of it, just have someone playing here, holding these stairs, playing softly in this area. If they get the hatch, they can help support them, support your team on site. If anyone drops the hatch, there is an outside wall and a hatch in this room. But again, this whole area is very, very pointless. And if you want to make it difficult for them dropping that hatch, you could just barricade these. So if they do drop the hatch, they have to make a lot of noise or even more noise to then get out of the room. You can even barricade this door. As soon as you start hearing them break that, you can rotate up, go and contest it, or just fall back, as that hatch is very close to the top of these stairs, giving yourself a little bit of time. Okay, moving on to bar and betting. Out of the 2 first floor sites, this is definitely the better site to play, and I do prefer it over the second floor site. Now, in this small wine stock room, we want to reinforce both of these walls. Once that's done, we want to reinforce only the right side wall. Now, we can also make this a one-way rotation out, because they won't be able to jump in, but we will be able to vault out. We open up the wall enough, we can vault out, making very little noise as opposed to just dropping down the stairs and making a big thud when we hit the floor. We can also then utilize this room to contest multiple different angles. We are going to reinforce these walls in just a second, but it is quite a long rotation back to this main lobby area. Because of that, it's more of a long flank. Maybe they're in this area, they're contesting this area, and you want to get a sneaky little flank off, do some slow walking. It is a long job to get all the way around, and this was that wall that we're going to reinforce both walls of. Now, once that's done, there is another 2 walls over here that you want to reinforce both of them. Now, this is a wall that you do want Bandit to be tricking. Now, you have a choice of how you may want to open up this wall for rotations. You could have it on either side, but I would recommend a full standing rotation on this wall, like so. Now, the reason why we're doing that is because maybe they're not contesting this area, and you want to hop up on this desk and get an off angle onto that door, catch someone with some weird off-height angles, you can do that. And another thing that you can do here is, if you get rid of the things on this table, is you can vault up onto this, giving you an off-angle peek onto the door. You can play closer to this wall. I'm sure people are going to figure out how to, oh, just like that, get over here. I'm sure there'll be some as army tech at some point to stuff you up on top of this shelf. You probably can do the old get on the corner of the bomb. You definitely can. And there will be some weird spots with that. So just watch out for some off-height peaks. We'll go get the hatch now before we forget. This lobby area is very confusing. To be honest, the entire map is rather confusing. Make sure to get this hatch if you're playing this site. It's not necessary to have Cade for this site and electrify the hatch. That's why you can play it in the 2nd or 3rd round. It is personal preference. But the basement, you're probably going to want to go there first. Not necessarily just for Cading a hatch, but it's just a little bit better with the way that the pickmans work. But again, if they get this hatch, it makes it a little bit difficult to sit in this area, and it does make it difficult for someone like Bandit to trick this wall. But outside of that, this hatch is in such a bad place that it really doesn't make much difference unless you want to be out in this area of the site. Now, if you are going to play in the wine stock, you can play to the door, you can play for the window, and you can play for the stairs. But all of these individual points of contact are isolated when you're in this area. And you can change how far back you want to be. You can always just go and rotate out. And then again, it is a long rotation. I'm still getting lost on this map every single time I go to do something. But for the last 2 reinforcements, we are going to want them on these 2 walls here. And that'll be wrapping up this site. And we'll be moving on to the next one. Okay, on to Cigar Room. This is my least favorite out of the 3 sites, especially because this here is completely bulletproof, like this entire thing. You can't shoot through. This you can shoot through, right? And another thing that not a lot of people probably know is this is completely wall-bangable all the way through at any point. So you need to be really careful of this middle section. I wouldn't open it up. I would just use it as a line of sight blocker. And then if you know that someone's there, maybe try and spray through it. But remember that there are sections going through the middle with the wooden beams, and the more walls you shoot through, the less damage you actually do. See, if you headshot someone through that small amount of walls, you are probably going to still be instant headshot. It's only when you introduce X amount more walls and have like a P90 with a suppressor that's going to make a difference. Now, over here on the pool side of things, you can get a rotation out into Barista. Small kitchen area with the pillar. If you have the rotation on this side, when you jump out, you are covered to anyone in this area over here. And something that I would do, if you plan to be playing inside this area, is open this hatch. Makes it a lot harder for someone to swing this area, and they're more likely to be in this kind of a space, allowing you to jump out using this pillar as cover. There is an exit to the outside here. Maybe this is a point to bring castle, and castle off this door, maybe this door, depending on what you want. But I would reinforce one of these walls. It's just so you can hop out and provide some support if they pressure this area, which when I played the map all of 2 times, I've come in this door, and it's been very easy to get control of this space and start pressuring it, especially when you have a bandit in here tricking, which you will need to reinforce both of these walls. Now, optionally, if you want to control that doorway that people want to come in, you could put head holes in this wall and save this reinforcement for a fallback reinforcement for this wall. And that is where you'll get that reinforcement. But I highly recommend that you reinforce this wall and have Bandit put a battery down on it. Because if he fails to trick in here, at least you'll be protected. Because people, if this wall has head holes, I've seen so many people do it. Even I've put head holes in this thinking, yeah, that's a good idea. No, it's a terrible idea. They just come in, literally just walk in and plant. There is so much cover that benefits them instead of you utilizing this space, not worrying about this wall, helping fight out into this room with the pillar and this space over here where you can also have your teammates supporting. But this leads out into the lobby, so we want to reinforce both of these walls. Now, something that I would personally do over here, okay, I hit the gas pipe, is open up head holes in this wall. When people take this lobby space, they want to come over here and challenge because they're pretty safe from this side. But if you have this open, they have to worry about the doorway into sight. They have to worry about the right and left side of this pillar and now potentially getting wall banged through this. I would also reinforce this single wall to give someone a nice tucked position to be able to play really, really close and peek off and shoot, and also play tucked up if someone's coming over in this side. Now, you could extend into this room, reinforce the one wall, but then there's another doorway to contest, but it does give you the ability to pinch out into this hallway if you know that you have control and assist and fight that hallway over there. Now, if you are going to do this, again, it would be you throw a rotation on this side. Game, please? May I rotate through the wall? Thank you. So you can get into this space, but you could also have someone playing bunkered up in this corner. Again, you could mess around with the side of the rotation, but if you are going to do it, you would reinforce this wall. Now, that made the complete reinforcement sound, even though I didn't use the reinforcement. Now, if you don't want to play this area, you could just throw some feet holes to make someone come into this hallway uncomfortable, or just leave it soft, and then reinforce both of these walls, or in fact, leave that wall soft, keep a reinforcement if you think that you're losing the ground, and then reinforce this wall. Now, for the sake of not having someone be able to see straight through sight to other angles of where you could be potentially playing a breach, I would reinforce one of the walls in the middle of the site just to give you something else to play off of. And you have the choice to have head holes here and have it a vault rotation or have it as a crouch rotation. That is personal preference, but you may want to sneak around to then play from a different angle. So I would just make this a vault rotation. And again, you have one reinforcement you can choose to extend, or again, have a fallback reinforcement, or just completely lock off this wall as well. Now, if you are going to play with the fallback reinforcement, I would just electrify both of these walls. That wall, lose that reinforcement, have head holes, because again, you can play quite comfortably here without being too exposed. Play on the doorway, can play over a bit if you really want, and still have some nice spatial control, as you will have some control over this area from this hole. You'll have to experiment with it. Nothing's set for meta. I'm just making this video just to give you guys an idea of how you can set up a site and what I've managed to come up with inside of the last hour, just to make sure that you lot have something to start working from. This is a basis. Now, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. There may be more Siege videos in the pipeline. I've come back to grind to champ, but again, it's a maybe. I don't know quite how I feel about the game. I've taken 3 seasons off to get my head straight and have a break from the complete and utter horrifying rage hacking. I want to go up to champ and see how that BIOS level anti-cheat works and give you guys my thoughts and opinions on that. But thank you for watching. Bye bye. I'll see you in the next one.